never really enjoyed swatching. And I don't feel like I'm supposed to say that. Well, I recently got a couple of new art materials and the responsible artist side of me says, Gemma, you need to practice with these. So I'm thinking of making swatch pockets, and not only is that exceedingly fun to say, do say it in your own spare time, swatch pockets, swatch pockets. In my mind they're going to be little pockets, just paper pockets in my sketchbook that are going to be painted or using the materials that the swatch is going to be of, so that they're a little practice in themselves. And then in the pocket is the swatch card, and then that card can be stored in there but can also be removed so that I don't have to necessarily have my whole sketchbook open every time I want to look at the swatches. I can just take the card out and yeah, okay. Right, I need to get up off the floor and let's actually try and do this. Excuse me. So first up is this cute little pack of Viviva watercolours, and despite the fact that I have been hearing great things about Viviva, I can tell I'm going to get that wrong so many times, but I've been curious to try them for a while. I've previously not bought any simply because I have other watercolours already and I'm an only buy a new one when the first one runs out kind of gal. But you know what I've never had before? Metallic watercolours! Everyone loves a shiny loophole, and the metalliciness of this pack meant that I didn't feel like I was doubling up. It was also a great price in the Scrawler Box sale, which, by the way, is where I picked up all of my new materials in this video. As you can see, I have already dipped my brush on these quickly out of curiosity. I could not wait, but I do still need to swatch them out properly. Next is this Derwent charcoal tinted paint pan set. The first reason for buying this was the charcoal as paint, I beg your pardon, say what now vibes. It's something I don't already have, and as a charcoal lover it's something that very much piqued my curiosity. And look how moody the colours look. It's got the grumps and I'm already enjoying it. There are 12 paint pans and it also has a water brush inside too, which is cool, and I can't wait to use them. And lastly are these mini Faber-Castell soft pastels. I've not had a full set of soft pastels before, and these look like great quality. They are so vibrant and I like that I can try them as small minis rather than having to invest in a full-size pack before knowing if I like them. There are 24 colours, and just gaze upon that rainbow goodness, if you will. Beautiful! I am very happy to welcome them into the shed. Alright then, let's swatch. It is a truth not universally acknowledged, just uttered by me, that swatching can be, in the wrong hands, a bit dull. When other people explain why they love swatching, I can absolutely understand it. I see the logic and benefits of it entirely. But the practicals of it is where I come unstuck. Firstly, I can be a bit of a "oh, what the heck" kind of artist, and often I don't mind not really knowing what colours I'm getting as I paint. I'll just bungle along in my own happy bubble of muddy colours. I just want to get on and play with the materials, and am simply a bit too lazy to swatch out all of the colours properly. Yeah. Secondly, and most simply, I just often forget that it's a thing. Is anyone like me out there? Put a sloth emoji in the comments if you are a swatching sloth like I am. But here's the silliness of my attitude. I actually really love seeing swatches when they're done. I love the aesthetics of seeing all the colours together. So this swatch session was about trying to bridge that gap somewhat, trying to make the process more interesting for myself so that I could enjoy having finished useful swatches in my sketchbook. In one of the sale scrawler boxes, I also got some watercolour postcards, and I figured these would be perfect for my swatches. For the Viviva colours, I drew out 10 circles and then adapted them into teardrop shapes because in my mind that labels them clearly as watercolours. And just look at how lovely these colours are, so pigmented. They just look like joy on a page. These are how they look just after painting them, and there is a definite sheen to these colours which is super satisfying. I then used a gold pen to write the names of each colour around the edges of each swatch bubble and got a bit carried away adding some decoration too. I can't help it, if you give me a shiny pen I'm gonna doodle hard with it. By the time I was done, to me it felt like a really happy swatch card. So while that card dries, let's move on to the next. I found these charcoal paints so interesting to use. Even though they are activated by water too, I don't think of these as watercolours as such, so I decided to do simple squares to echo the pans and scatter them across the page. They take a bit more time working the water into the pan with the brush to get the deeper tones, but when you get them, they are really lovely. They have a bit of grittiness to them, but not in a way that feels unsmooth. They glide over the paper easily and create interesting moments of texture. I personally very much enjoyed the moody selection of tones provided. While similar, each is distinct, but they all work so well together. And I can admit that due to the subtleties of this set, it is super helpful having a swatch of these to help remind me which one is which. I enjoyed the gold pen so much before that I used it again to label up this swatch and decorate it further. So my final swatch is the Pastels, and this one needed to be a little bit different because in order for the colours not to rub off onto other pages when it's stored, it needed to be folded. Also, I can say that I probably didn't really need to swatch these at all because the colour you see in the stick is the colour you get on the page. But doing this did give me a chance to do a little blending and see how smooth the colours could look. Because they are a messy medium and I wanted each swatch to be as pure as it could be, I just kept it simple, pressing the pastels down into lines just like their stick shape. After adding the colour numbers onto the sheet, I attached a spare piece of paper to act as a buffer between the two folded sides, which will help to stop them rubbing into each other when stored. Seeing as the other swatches are on postcards, I made this one into a type of letter, using the material details as if it was an address and adding a little doodled stamp. I think it's pretty cute. So now I need to make some snuggly pockets to put these swatches into. I figured it was best to create these pockets in the back of my sketchbook so that I know exactly where they are and can find them easily later. Because that's another reason I don't swatch much, because I do them and then I tuck them in somewhere that I think makes sense at the time and then never remember where they are when I actually need them. For the metallic watercolours, I was very clear on what I wanted the pocket to be, just not so clear on what would be in the background, which is why I painted this weirdly proportioned floral thingy. It's a bit slapdash, but to be honest, the swatch card will cover it up most of the time, so I don't feel bad about it. The main thing is it was extra practice just getting used to these paints. My camera battery died off as I was getting the pocket painted, but here's what it looked like when it was done. Very simple, leafy goodness. I love it because it's just so vibrant and lush. I cut it out and then used double-sided sticky tape to attach it to the bottom of the page. Nice. For the charcoal paints, I figured I'd do a hilly landscape, but again, I did not put much thought into it, which is why it's pretty rough. I simply enjoyed smooshing the colours around and seeing how they blended. Once done, I cut it out, and because it was quite a pale painting, I figured the background needed to be a little bit bolder. I painted a simple square edge and filled it in with the darkest tone, adding some of the white in at the end to create a kind of mottled night sky. I used the gold pen to add some outlines, and when I popped the swatch inside, I felt very satisfied indeed. Now, the pocket for the pastel swatch had to be a bit different. While I would have liked to have decorated it with the pastels, I just knew it would be tricky to keep it from smudging when the book was closed. So I went a bit rogue and instead made a post box using marker pens. Sure, it's not perfect, I can see there's streaks, but it feels kinda jolly all the same. I cut out the slot, popped a bit of black paper behind it and stuck it down. I think with the pastel swatch letter tucked inside, it looks rather sweet. I could also tuck my first swatch in now too, as all of the paints had dried. It feels like such a colourful spread. So that was my project, and it actually made me rather enjoy the swatching. Putting the swatches on postcards was very satisfying, as I could write their details on the back, and it means there's also space to jot any notes on there later too. I like that I can pull the swatches out of the book easily, and they're small and handy to reference, but that I have somewhere clear to snuggle them back into when finished with. What do you think? Does it look like more effort than it's worth? It probably is, but I have one of those brains that likes finding the long way into things, so this worked for me. Thanks so much for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you did and you'd like to come again, I would be over the moon. Click subscribe to join me, and please do consider clicking the like button if you can, as it really helps me out. Until the next video, stay curious, keep making happy, and I'll see you next time.